1995 each. Call 1-800-USA-1000 now.
Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, home of Boston College. 3rd down and 3, second period on the give. Right away, Stratford. And Stratford to the 10 in a 7-7 ball game. Roy Oak and John Cummins, linebacker and free safety. Statistically, Kyle, Boston College with 5 first downs in the first period. Rutgers with 7. And you see some of the numbers here, the passing statistics, and it's fairly even. And the total is 124 to 119 Rutgers. And were it not for that misdirected snap on a punt, it could have been a set play, which they had where they had an ex-quarterback in there, maybe trying to pull a trick play off. Might be a different ball game because that gave BC good field position and they scored. Stratford. Oh boy. He was really bumped by the linebacker Tyrone Stowe.
They talk about the freshman sensation last year, Tyrone Stowe. We see why, as the pursuit of that Rutgers defense is making things difficult for Troy Stratford, who's holding that hamstring. I'd be holding my head if I got hit like this. Watch Tyrone Stowe, number 41, meet Stratford helmet to helmet, nose to nose, and Stratford, not surprisingly, is going off the field.
And it is the hamstring that you're talking about, and that means they'll probably bring Kenny Bell in the ball game. Bell, 5'10", 182 from Greenwich, Connecticut, and there's Stratford. And that has to be a concern to Boston College because Stratford is their bread and butter guy, meat and potatoes time. Phelan and Martin are the wide receivers. Phelan to the far side, Kelvin Martin to the near side. Jim Brown is into the fullback, the lone running back, and set up on a wing on the right side. Now in motion is Bell. 2nd and 12. Good pressure and a nice catch that time by Phelan. Gerard Phelan, an ex-flanker playing the split end, and Flutie's roommate, as Kyle mentioned, for the last 4 years. Pulled it in.
Got 2 receivers on the same side. You've got a deep man, Ken Bell, going deep, and underneath comes Gerard Phelan. Both secondary men are going deep with Kenny Bell, but how can you ever leave Phelan alone? Number 4 in the nation in catches per game.
Rosemont, Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia. Full house backfield now. And on a 3rd and 3 from the 4, they wanted to get down close to 6-point territory, so they had them all in there. Strahan, Brown, and Jim Turner, 3 fullbacks. And the ball down to about the 2.
That's 4th down. They're going to go for it. They'll probably bring in both tight ends. Have 3 fullbacks in.
Peter Casparello, one of the tight ends, with Brendan Murphy, they're all in there right now. So Casparello and Murphy, 2 tight ends, and they go from the power I.
Uneven line. You've got 5 players on the right side.
And he's not going to get there.
No, but he might have gotten the 1st down. He may not have gotten the touchdown.
He needed 1.
I think he got the 1st, though.
Piquel and Sagnella, as they gave it to Ken Bell. And Tyrone Stowe was all there. So Stowe and Piquel and Sagnella stopping him, but he may have the 1st down.
You don't see this very often. An uneven line up front, almost the old single wing style, as Bell tries to accelerate into space to get the 1st down. Just what the linesman's looking at. He is judging the position of the ball. Watch the leap, up high, and it looks like they're going to place the ball about the 1. And he is short on the measurement, about 3 inches short.
Well, Rutgers doing an excellent job holding behind a good Boston College line that averages 6'3", 264 pounds. And again, adding the power element by bringing in a couple of tight ends and overloading the right side where they had 5 men lined up on the right side of the line. So Dwayne Hooper and Albert Smith will come in at the running backs, along with Rusty Hochberg. Russell, Pereira, Thurman, and Eiton, the defensive secondary for Boston College. 12:30 to play in the half in a 7-7 ball game. Hochberg, and he had a man loose up here, number 81, Andrew Baker, and he overled him that time, but Hochberg throws as well as anybody I've seen on the run and off balance.
Boston College with very, very bad coverage. As Rutgers going down the field, Neil Eiton went with, they were playing a zone there, and Eiton had the deep zone. He decided to go with the inside curl man, and that's why the Rutgers receiver was so wide open.
Vernon Williams is in at a tailback or a fullback, and Dwayne Hooper the tailback out of the I formation with Rusty Hochberg. 2nd and 10 from the 2. 6 men up front, and they try and bust inside in one of the seams. And David Thomas, the left defensive end, and a tri-captain, All-America candidate, pulls him down with a little help from Ed Von Nessen, and that is Troy Stratford. And he's got hamstring problems. Oh, boy. It's a pull, and he is questionable the rest of the way. 3rd down and 10. All on the 6-yard line, so that's not quite a 3rd and 10. He added a couple 3rd down and 6. John Foser and Mike Roof tackle and nose guard with pressure on the play. Intended for Baker. 4th down situation, time to kick. So Hochberg tried to get it going. He could not. And now the Scarlet Knights are going to be forced to kick it. And Kelvin Martin will be standing shy of the 50-yard line, dead center in the field.
I think that was a
look back, and this is Greg Liska, the kick.
Good decision, Eddie, though, I think by Hochberg, as he was throwing into the strength of the coverage. They had 3 secondary men for Boston College on that side. A lot better, particularly because Boston College secondary men have returned a lot of pass interceptions for touchdowns.
42. Martin with pretty good kick coverage and good field position now for Boston College to the 34-yard line. Tom Duffy, the defensive end, and the linebacker Ken Bell and Strahan were also there to help. And we have a tie game. It's 7-7 from Boston College, and we'll have more when we return.
Oh, that's great. When I needed a new chainsaw, I went right to a Poulin dealer.
That's Poland.
Feature for feature, dollar for dollar, it's hard to beat a Poulin.
Poland.
And a Poulin dealer can help you pick just the right saw for the job. Seems a saw this good deserves a dealer this good. So, when you're looking for a tough, dependable chainsaw, look for a dealer that sells Poland.
Poland.
That's what I said, Poland.
You said Poland?
Ask them.
Poland. No matter how you say it, the name means quality.
I said Poland, didn't I?
Seguin, Texas, and Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Seguin means barbecue at its biggest and best. And Milwaukee means beer. Cold, crisp, old Milwaukee beer. And smooth, golden, old Milwaukee Light.
And old Milwaukee.
And old Milwaukee Light.
Tastes as great as their name.
You know, it doesn't get any better than this.
7-7 tie here at Boston College. And a good field position with split backs and Flutie to throw. Turnout, Phelan, and he's grilled cheesed at the 28-yard line. Steve Twomley and Roger Pollard, the hitters. And they met him nicely. And Phelan,
he stands up and says, that doesn't hurt much, guys. He can't barely say it. The wind's been knocked out of him, but he's not about to let the Rutgers secondary think that he's hurt.
Brendan Murphy has replaced Darren Flutie, and Joe DeQuinto has also come out of there now as they stretch a couple of wide receivers to the far side of the field. Strahan and Bell are the running backs. Now look at the way they switch over. Tight end goes left. They bring the slot to the right. Underthrown. That was intended for Bell, but a flag is thrown on the play. And Flutie that time pulled the trigger a little quickly under good pressure by Rutgers. Rutgers bringing some men that time to put the heat on Flutie, but I don't think that's anything extraordinary as far as he's concerned. They were bringing 8 at a time from West Virginia last week.
In fact, I think, Eddie, he prefers it that way because he does get the single coverage. And Flutie reads secondary movement so well. Let's take a listen on the penalty.
Defensive holding, 10-yard penalty.
Oh boy, 3rd penalty of the afternoon against Rutgers. And that's going to move the ball ever closer, as they had a 2nd and 5 situation they were looking at from the 29. Now they'll bring it down to the 19. And DeQuinto and Darren Flutie come in. And it'll be Bukowski, Piquel, Sagnella, and Washington up front. And they pull Tom Duffy The Prairie defensively with McCarris, Bell, and Strahan, the dual running backs. Now they go to an I. Bell is the up back in the I. Doug Flutie in a crowd, and good coverage, but a flag thrown on the play. I don't know how good a pattern those two fellas ran. They drew the traffic there, and it was a very tough pass to try and complete. As McCarris is right there, Flutie and DeQuinto are right in the middle of the field.
Let's look at the secondary coverage in the rush. I think it's going to be offensive pass interference. We'll take a look. A little crossing pattern inside. There you see the bump by number 1, really for Boston College, Joe Giaquinto, as he's knocking into a secondary man. And I think that's what they're going to call. It's almost like the pick play in basketball, but this time it's a moving pick. And the Boston College receiving corps getting caught.
We'll get the official call here in a moment, but that's the first thing that came to my mind was pick.
Pass interference on the offense. Loss of down penalty. Going to be second down.
And 25 to go. So Dick Anderson and his defense breathing a little easier for the moment. Twombly, Cummins, Pollard, and McCarris are in the secondary now for Rutgers. Play action. Phelan to the 13-yard line. Gerard Phelan, a sure-fingered catcher who has 453 yards and now getting close to 40 catches for the year under his belt.
Let's look at the fabulous flinger as he finds his roommate inside. They don't go for it all on second down, but they're back to now they've got a third and short yardage, third and about 4.
Well, that's a big pass by Flutie there. Both teams, incidentally, with 25 yards in penalty. Phelan and Darren Flutie, a freshman and the brother of Doug, are the wide receivers, stretch right and left. Twin backs, Bell and Strahan. Flutie on a roll. And sliding out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Roger Pollard prevented him from taking it in. Flutie can run. He averages about 6.5 yards a carry. Most quarterbacks will lose your yardage on the ground, but not him.
Well, particularly lately on the bootleg action, Flutie has had a bad left shoulder, and Bicknell's asked him not to run too much, and that's perhaps why you see him try to get out of bounds, picking up as much yardage as he can. He also gets the first down, too.
Nice-looking young man. Just turned 22 the other day. Had a birthday on the 23rd. Tom Duffy's back in. Strahan and Bell. And that's Bell. And down to the 1-yard line. Tyrone Stowe.
Bell picked up those last 3 yards on his own. He had the option of running it inside, but Rutgers, as they've done so well today, stringing it out, forcing him to go wide. That critical moment, he decided had to go to the goal line, picked up the last 3 on his own.
Roger Pollard also made the stop right there with 9:28 in the half. And a full house backfield now with Strahan, Brown, and Turner. 3 fullbacks all lined up there. That's some blocking. And Flutie tries to go the other way. Gives it to Brown, and Rutgers is ready for it. You know, that's an interesting thing, that the way they figured that one out, because in looking at the films, it was kind of revealing to me to find out that every time they lined up in that power set, that Flutie had a propensity to want to take it the other way, rolling away from where the strength was. And that time Rutgers was ready for it. And Bicknell now will look at a 3rd and 5 as they roll it back to the 5. Phelan and Martin are the wide receivers. Bell and Strahan are the running backs, and incidentally the center is Jack Bicknell Jr., the son of the coach. Bell in the slot, Strahan the block. And Phelan is the intended receiver. We have a flag on the far side of the field.
I guess it's going to be another defensive holding. They're trying to hold up all the receivers for Flutie at the line of scrimmage, rushing a lot of people. And take a look and see, here's the rush. When you're throwing a lot of people up there, obviously if you can keep their receivers at the line of scrimmage too, Flutie will have nobody to throw to. And so they're doing a lot more than just bump and run. They're bumping and holding.
And they have a penalty here on
Defensive holding
Yeah, it is.
Still third down.
The penalty was on Steve Twomley, the right corner. And Anderson not happy about that on defensive holding. And how are they going to march this one off? As Anderson is very, very unhappy with the call. He's telling one of the officials about it right now.
Go half the distance here, so it'll move down to about the 2.5.
Seven ball game. BC scoring first. Rutgers on a 44-yard punt return, tying it up with the PAT. We have 8.5 to play in the half, and the ball is on the 2-yard line with a 3rd and goal. Bell, Strahan, Bell on the give, fumble, and Rutgers has recovered. What a break for Rutgers. As Bell fumbling on the hit and Rutgers on the recovery. Tyrone Stowe, the linebacker, number 41, and George Piquel, the nose guard, with a big hit on Ken Bell.
Well, Doug Flutie trying to just get himself pumped up. Twice he's taken his troops down to the 1-yard line. Twice Rutgers is held. First on downs, this time on the fumble.
And that'll give us an opportunity to tell you that with a little over 8:20 to play in the half, it's all time. BC 7, Rutgers 7 on USA Sports.
Do you know which of these oils gives you the best engine protection under the toughest driving conditions, sub-zero cold or blazing heat? This one, Mobil 1. Now, Mobil 1 and our other fine motor oils come in this easy pour resealable plastic container. Mobil Motor Oil. Now it's easier to use than ever.
The top-ranked, unbeaten Oklahoma Sooners leading the nation in total defense. But it was the defense of this team, the Missouri Tigers, that last year shut out the Sooners for the first time since 1965. The rematch, Missouri and Oklahoma, on USA's College Football 84 at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific next Saturday.
Rock legend Neil Young recorded live in Berlin, a USA premiere event at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, Monday, October 29th.
7-7 tie, Boston College and Rutgers. From Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, the last play in the big fumble.
Junior number 24, tailback Ken Bell. In for the injured Troy Stratford, fumbles the ball. And before it goes into the end zone, it's Tyrone Stowe, number 41 in white, for Rutgers with the pickup.
Dwayne Hooper and Curtis Stevens are the running backs now. Andrews and Scott Drake, the tight ends, in the game. Pendergrass has come out. Norden is in defensively also. Rutgers has 9 passes and 2 runs on first play situations. And that time they run it with Hooper. And he's tackled by Todd Russell along with Thurman, the free safety. Thurman is an interesting story. He came here as an all-scholastic quarterback. And we'll tell you about it after we look at this last play.
Many times when you're just right on the look at that block, as we had a chance to see Glenn Fine, the reserve center for Rutgers, blow out Mike Ruth.
2nd down and 6. 7-7 tie. We'll be back to our story in a moment here. Hooper. And run out of bounds by Dave Pereira. And there's a dent in the hood of a truck down there that's fielding one of our cameras. I was going to say Thurman was a all-state quarterback and Flutie an all-state defensive back on the same senior year. They were recruited here and they end up being just the opposite. Flutie, of course, the quarterback and the leader, and Thurman the leader defensively in that secondary. So what a twist of fate as it would turn out.
Thurman not just the leader in the secondary, the leader in the nation in interceptions per game, averaging almost an interception and a half per game.
Peter Holy is in at a linebacker on the right side, or the weak side. And they ran it to the strength that time, and it was Neil Eiton tackling Hooper. Yeah, they got the first down on the play, and I tell you, Rutgers is moving the ball pretty well. Well, the coaches were saying yesterday that Rutgers is a surprisingly strong football team. Hooper, the touchdown, a little over 3 yards a carry, getting a chance to work here replacing Albert Smith. Pendergrass is in the ball game. That's Hooper again. And Von Nessen rides him down right there. Number 84 coming into the picture is Roy Norton, the senior defensive tackle. Rick Nickerson is in, replacing Chuck Gorecki for Boston College. 7-7 with 7:05 to play here in the first half. Hooper now with 17 yards. Albert Smith comes in to replace Hooper, give him a breather, and there he is. I formation. Smith is the tailback in the eye. Play action fake. Hochberg, and he'll be pulled down.
He threw it away. They got to penalize him for that, for intentional grounding.
And they do. John Bosa, the big tackle, pulled him down from behind, and the intentional grounding, and another penalty coming up.
And you lose the down as well.
There's Big John. He's a junior. Big strong guy. 6'4" and 252. The official word.
Intentional grounding on the offense. Loss of down. Third down.
Third down situation.
Well, let's see what the Boston College defense does. Do they go with a maximum rush, or do they put 6 or 7 people back in the secondary with this 3rd and long?
Vernon Williams now is in the ball game, and Albert Smith, the two running backs, and they go to a solo setback position on a 3rd and 22. Hochberg and Furman has got his 8th interception of the year, his 21st of his career. He's #1 in both categories among active players, and he does lead the nation in that one, and he read it beautifully from his center field position as a free safety.
Well, just before the snap of the ball, we asked the question how many they're going to rush. They only rushed 3 that time. That left 8 people back there in the secondary, and with Hochberg not really drilling the ball to anybody, it's the center fielder, so to speak, in the defense, Tony Thurman, who just reads the pass and picks it off very easily.
Brown and Bell are the running backs. Brown, the fullback, to block. Split receivers right and left. Flutie to pass. He's got his man. Kelvin Martin, and he beats Steve Twombly. And just like that, Boston College takes advantage of the turnover, and they score.
The key here is Flutie gets help from his fullback and his tailback. They cut down the rush. He's got plenty of time. Look at that passing lane. You could be 4 feet 9 inches tall and be able to see your receiver in that case. And the single coverage for Kelvin Martin, relatively easy to beat any man in the secondary.
Particularly with that speed, 4.640. Snow is in to add the extra point if he can, and BC looking to make it 14 and do. It's 14-7 here in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, with 6:18 to play in the half. And Boston College, in the arm of Flutie with 2 TD shots, leads it by 7. More when we return.
Out for a day just chasing the sun, or doing the work that's got to be done, or riding a race that's got to be won. Kawasaki. Now with a choice of 3-wheelers that offer low prices, high performance, and about everything in between. And for one more wheel of a time, check out the all-new Bayou 4-wheeler. Get the best of both worlds at your Kawasaki dealer.
It was moving day. Things were going great. Till the moving truck died at the toll booth gate. The troopers were glaring. Tempers were flaring.
Do I hear swearing?
What's more, it started to pour. The tow truck came and we gave a cheer. Then the couch slid out the rear.
Oh.
Now I know Ryder trucks are newer. They're tougher, they're strong. And driving a bargain sure didn't pay. So next time I'll think this way. It's Ryder or it's wrong.
14-7 BC. Doug Flutie with a couple of touchdown passes, and here's the last one to the split receiver, Kelvin Martin.
Well, they call him Sir Douglas of the darts, but you see Martin just running a very simple post pattern, not even a great fake. He just really outruns number 21 for Rutgers, Steve Twombly. And the guy they call Sir Douglas of the darts has that tremendous front line, and it gives him all that protection. Group of people that he calls the Secret Service.
Flutie is now 9 for 12, 149 yards for 2 touchdowns. Kick is up short, picked up at the 13-yard line. Here comes Hooper. Broke one and still goes to the 37. So a good run back, and Snow, the kicker, was the one that shoved him out of bounds.
Well, Rutgers has shown, as we take a look at some of the scores around the country here, college football 84.
That's a good one right there. Oklahoma State 8-0 over Colorado. Yale trailing Penn 7-0 in the first. Hochberg now the quarterback, 6 for 17, but only one of his last 11 attempts. That's Hooper in motion. Vernon Williams is the other running back. And that's Hooper. And it was Dave Pereira, the strong safety, that made the stop. I don't know, Albert Smith is all right. We've seen he and Hooper rotate. But Hooper's been getting a little bit more time here in the second quarter. From Alumni Stadium, we have 5:50 till the half. And a 14-7 BC lead. Rutgers with the ball. Picked up 4 in the last play, so it's 2nd and 6. Baker, Pendergrass, and Alan Andrews are the wide receivers. And that is Mike Ruth, the nose guard. Boy, I'm telling you, he is a big one. Look at him, flex. He's got muscles on muscles, that guy.
He's got bigger pecs than I do quads. There's Mike Ruth fighting off the block inside. He just pushes the center so he can maintain his position in the running lane. And Eddie told you that he wanted to go to seminary. They had to talk him out of going to seminary right out of high school so that he'd play some college football, and I'm sure they're glad if they did.
Hochberg 7 for 19. But he runs and he slides inside the 50 to the 46. But he avoided a tackler way back here, and that enabled him to get some extra yardage. It was the linebacker Peter Holly that had a shot at him at about the line of scrimmage. Carl Crushpain, a reserve strong safety who's been injured with a knee but recovered in time to play in this game. Who's in there now? Joe DeGilio is out, and Glenn Fine has come in at the center for Rutgers. What a pass. Pinpoint that time to Pendergrass. He's got good receivers, Ed Von Nessel and Todd Russell.
Eddie Hochberg is paying a price every time, even in rollouts. The defense of Boston College continues to put him under pressure, and after a while as a quarterback, while you do have to pay that price every time, you do get tired of finding yourself on your back every time you throw the ball.
He had 500 pounds of man on him that time, and Ruth and Bosa. That's got to hurt. 4:38 in the half. From the eye to the fullback. And that time it was Vernon Williams who got the call. Vernon, who was the best athlete that came out of the state of Massachusetts when he was a senior. And so he must feel a little something extra in coming back here. Peter Holy and Ed Von Nessen, the linebackers, pulled him down with 4:15 to play here in the first half. 14-7, Boston College. They've taken advantage of 2 mistakes by Rutgers. One on an interception, the last one, and the other on a bad snap off a punt. And this time BC is ready as Bosa is the first man to get the ball carrier, Hooper. That's like wrestling with the front end of a Peterbilt truck. Man, that hurts. One of those 18-wheelers comes in there and knocks you down. Rutgers now with Brenner and Udovich, DeGilio, Getz, and Keating in the front line. 14-7 our score, BC. 3rd and 7. And right there with another pass Pereira coming over a little bit late, but Alan Andrews, the tight end, who has punted, played D-back, quarterback, done everything here, and now a pro prospected tight end making the reception.
Sprint out action again despite the twisting rush of the Boston College line. And here's Andrews, a guy that a lot of people believe could add perhaps another 25 pounds or so, and I'm sure if he does go in the pros, that's what they're going to want him to do.
3:11 to play in the half. 1st and 10. Hochberg, and there may be no flag. Andrew Baker was the intended receiver. Neil Eiton was there, and it almost looked like he was a little premature. Let's see if we can pick it up.
And particularly watch his right hand. His left arm is going to go for the ball, but his right hand is over the top. And but you had two judges right there, and neither one threw the flag.
Yeah, I've seen
perhaps one was waiting for the other.
I've seen some Miss Americas that I didn't think were that great either. So the judges aren't always right. On a 2nd down and 10, stood straight up that time. Vernon Williams by Dave Pereira. Williams, who had been the starter most of the way until the 3 fumbles last week, it made Dick Anderson very, very unhappy. One thing Anderson is a stickler for is basics. And fumbles are the kind of things he has very little tolerance with.
That's despite the fact that Vernon Williams, of the 9 touchdowns that Rutgers has offensively and running, he has 6 of those 9.
3rd down and 7. 2 receivers stretched to the left. Rusty Hochberg. Oh, he had his man right in between the defense that time, Andy Baker. And Baker, who has established a new school record here on pass receptions, is going to come out on an incomplete pass in a 4th down and 7. Peter Holy and Dave Pereira were around the football.
Another long situation, Eddie. Boston College only rushed 3 that time again, and Hochberg should have had a lot more time to really set up and be able to throw the ball.
This is Tom Angsat to come in to kick. And he's going to kick it from the 24, but this guy's pretty good. 14 of 19 on field goals. And he's got it. So for a guy that has done a good job, including one as long as 50 yards, he had 5 3-pointers against Cincinnati, 4 against Syracuse, and a 50-yarder in that one has added 3, and it's 14-10. Boston College with 2:15 in the half. Ready to kick it off. Bell and Taylor back to receive. Number 4 is Greg Liska to kick. That's Bell. To the 20. And over the 25-yard line, and BC will start it up with 2:11 to play here in the half, and leading it by 4. That last scoring drive, incidentally, Rutgers, 46 yards, 11 plays, and it took them just about 4 minutes. So their time of possession, interestingly enough, has been much better than Boston College, although Boston College has been opportunistic when they've had a couple of breaks. They've taken advantage of 2, the missed snap on the punt, and then the interception. They took them both in for scores. Strahan and Bell, the running backs, with Flutie. That's Ken Bell. He steps away from 3 tacklers and fights to the 40-yard line. John Cummins, the free safety, with some pretty nifty running there by Ken Bell, the backup to Troy Stratford, who went out with the pull hamstring.
Flutie is so adept as he's going into his 2-minute offense. Only 2:02 left here in the first half. Calling the play at the line of scrimmage again. Flutie calls about 25% of them at the line.
And trying to go to one of his wideouts who turned up on the far side. That is Kelvin Martin, number 82. He's got Phelan and Martin, the 2 wide receivers, so they'll incomplete it, stop the clock. And with 1:57 to play in the half, it's 14-10. Coming back into the lineup now for Boston College, number 26, Darren Flutie.
You know, this is when you want to have this quarterback on the field more than any other in the country. 2 minutes to go. He has all 3 timeouts left.
163 yards passing so far for Doug Flutie. The big tight end, Gieselman. On a play-action fake, and Gieselman, the big man, 6'6" and 240, carrying Tyrone Stowe and Jack LaPrairie.
Got to stop the clock for a moment to get the sticks moved. First down.
Here we go again, 14-10. Flutie steps out of the pocket. You know, one nice thing about Flutie, and the Scots will tell you, he'll take a few hits, but he never takes them directly. The way he takes the hit, he kind of cushions the blow, gives on it, and as a result has been pretty much injury-free, although he did have a slight concussion against Rutgers a year ago and only played a quarter and a half. 14-10 with 1:40 to play here in the first half. It'll be Phelan and Martin. Number 97, Jim Pickell, has come in at a down position on the line. Martin Phelan, as I mentioned, the wide receiver. Phelan. And can you believe what Flutie has done here in almost no time at all with 1:33? He's got his team in position to kick a field goal, if nothing else.
Well, he may leave too much time on the clock. He's so adept at this to give Rutgers a chance to come back. But just look at all the time he's getting. Eddie told you that he prefers to be a drop-back passer despite all of his scrambling heroics. A good pattern by Gerard Phelan. And there's the touchdown as we come back.
Peter Casparello was the tight end who came in to receive the touchdown. A converted quarterback. He got there just in time, and congratulations around as Doug Flutie has taken this club, and he did it in less than a minute. In fact, he did it in 50 seconds or 49 seconds.
A lot of quarterbacks will watch their primary receiver the whole way. As Flutie's backpedaling, he's watching the reaction of the secondary of Rutgers. He's looking to the left, trying to get their free safety moving a little bit to the left, and Peter Casparello is running to the post, and of course Doug Flutie knows that and throws a very simple pass.
And for the extra point, and Boston College has hit and struck like lightning. And so BC, with 1:24, has taken a 21-10 lead.
I'm really disappointed. You know, he goes 74 yards in less than a minute. He doesn't take enough time off the clock.
that is incredible, isn't it? Well, next week, College Football 84 returns to the Pac-8, or the Big 8. We'll have a pretty good one there, we think. Missouri and Oklahoma. That's next Saturday at 12:30 Eastern, right here on USA Sports. That's downtown Beantown. That's Boston in the background. And not far from those buildings, Fenway Park, home of the Red Sox. Little fog in the air, but it is definitely a nice fall afternoon here. The leaves turning colors and fall into the ground, and Boston College right now is putting it to Rutgers pretty good on the strength of a Flutie 74-yard drive. Took 6 plays in 47 seconds.
Tell you what, those guys in the end zone, they are building up some upper body as we're listening to the explanation of how he got looked off in the defensive backfield.
Roy Oak, one of the linebackers, having something to say, and now Rutgers coming back as Snow will try to kick it low and to one of the up people, and they'll just pounce on the football.
It's the wisdom of not kicking off deep with very little time left. There's only 1:21. Get the ball down to almost the 23-yard line.
Dan Lipsett, a reserve running back, was the man that recovered, and there it is, 47 seconds, 74 yards. Is that amazing?
Some people would have difficulty going 74 yards in 47 seconds.
Casparello on the reception. And Flutie now with 3 touchdown passes. This is Rusty Hochberg. And it'll go incomplete. Alan Andrews, the intended receiver.
Everyone knows what's coming here, and it's Peter Holly. Or is that Holy? How do we pronounce
Holy?
Holy.
I don't know. Neil Diamond would say Holy Holly, wouldn't it? How would he say it?
Well, in any event, he's a 3-year letterman. I should know that.
You should know what? That he's a 3-year veteran,
no,
or is Holy?
Peter Holy, yeah.
Okay. 2nd down and 10. Oh, my. Right there on the numbers. Von Nessen, the linebacker, dropped to cover, but Boris Pendergrass was there on a pinpoint pass again. This Hochberg throws a very nice football.
Now, one thing about running the hurdles, which, as you said, Pendergrass, the IC4A champion, there's not a strong safety or a linebacker ready to hit you when you cross the hurdle. Of course, out there, pass across the middle, there's a little voice in the back of your head that's always saying, get ready to get hit as soon as you touch that ball.
Hochberg, 3 of the last 13 on his passing. And he's going to let this one go as he has a man, but out of bounds. Inside the 50, and it's Pendergrass again. That's a good idea to go to him, of course, with the track speed and the jumping ability. And so it'll bring up a 4th down situation. Hey, well, I've got one for you.
Tell you what, though, there's a minute and 6 left. 3 timeouts left. Tell me what you got.
Ruth, the nose guard, and Holy, the linebacker. Ruth wants to become a priest, and Holy's got the name for it. Greg Liska is in to kick now for Rutgers, and Kelvin Martin is back at the 37-yard line. Well, yeah, you're right. He's got time, a minute and 6. Nice kick. Rutgers had opted to receive or to kick off so that they would have a slight wind at their back in the 4th quarter. And Liska will come away with a 38-yard average. And that time, Liska with a pretty good kick.
Well, this is made for Mr. Flutie right here.
Yeah, he comes on with 59 seconds and a 21-10 lead. We got 2 backs, and from the shotgun, Flutie. And he's got a man, and still in bounds or out of bounds goes Ken Bell.
Unfortunately, got a flag all the way back in the backfield.
And they're going to bring it back. But Bell was down there and Flutie again. You see what I mean when they talk to the pro scouts and they're watching line people trying to figure out footwork, and all of a sudden they're mesmerized by Flutie and his ability to get the job done. And there he is talking to the referee.
Flutie saying, I don't mind you bringing the ball back, but when you put the time back on the clock, I need a little bit more. He's got 10 yards less to go than he did last time. He's got about 4 more seconds than it took him last time, so this is well within reach.
And we're going to see what the call was. As the referee is John Soffey. Time for him to tell us.
Holding on the offense. Still 1st down.
So those kind of penalties last week, Eddie, as you mentioned, really hurt him against West Virginia. Just 4 penalties brought him back over 140 yards. And some big plays like that one, including the touchdown to Phelan.
9 penalties in the game today, 5 and 4. And Flutie runs into a crowd and then still steps away. And that's Phelan, and they are excited. I am telling you, they are excited. Last week we had Bernie Kosar, who was, he isn't exactly, as they say, chump change or chop liver. But this guy here is right in the same class. And what we got now is a situation with 37 seconds to play in the half, and Flutie's still got another go.
They got maximum coverage in the secondary, only rushing 4 people, but you see Phelan, an experienced receiver, trying to find a seam. He looks around, raises his hands, and Flutie sidearms him, gets the ball into a space, and they call the timeout, I believe, to stop the clock with 37 left, and they're close to midfield.
Phelan with 96 yards. And the kid, who is Flutie's roommate, has been doing a good job against that Rutgers defense. And there's Dick Anderson and his staff trailing at 21-10 with 37 seconds in the half. And again, we'll remind you about our feature and our Wall Street weekend memo. And then, of course, our stats and highlights coming up at halftime today. Jack Bicknell wanting to make it 5-1. And he's got tough games ahead of him. He's got Penn State next week, and then Army and Syracuse, and Miami of Florida, and Holy Cross. Phelan and Martin are the wideouts. Timeouts remaining. You see Rutgers with 3 if they ever get the ball back. Strahan, the solo running back, with Flutie to pass. And an attempt by Phelan to get to it. He could not on the turnout. And so the clock is dead with 33 in the half and 21-10 the score.
Bad pattern being run by Ken Bell there as he got in the way of Flutie. Flutie had to throw the ball a little bit further outside. Bell took his own coverage in the path of the Flutie anticipated throw.
Just in case you tuned in and you didn't understand what 21-10 was, it's Boston College with the lead and time running out here in the half. Phelan and Darren Flutie to the near side, flag thrown. And an almost interception by Rutgers. Tyrone Stowe banged it around. Lionel Washington, a drop in. And number 6 is Roger Pollard, intended for Gerald Phelan. Darrell Flutie was also there. But they're running 2 receivers to the same zone.
On the offense.
Legal procedure against Boston College probably be declined, as that will put the punting team on the field for Boston College. Flutie throwing the ball into numbers. That's something, as Eddie told you, with only 4 interceptions, he has not done much of this year. And when you look at his statistics over the past couple of years, his interceptions about the same numbers as his touchdown passes. This year, going into today's game, 14 TDs. He's had 3 touchdown passes today, so he has 17 touchdown passes, only 4 interceptions. That's a remarkable ratio of over 4 to 1.
Steve Peach. And Dan McHarris receives. Nice little return from McHarris.
Everything that Rutgers has done on their kicking game has been pretty good. Returned 1 punt for a touchdown, had 1 really good kickoff return, and now another good punt return. And obviously, their coach Dick Anderson coaching, putting a lot of emphasis on the kicking game for Rutgers.
Vernon Williams, Brian Cobb, Andrew Baker, Alan Andrews are all in. 32-yard kick and a 20-yard return, so that win a little bit tougher than we had anticipated, although it doesn't look like it's moving that quickly. Westy Hockmer, and he's got his big tight end, Alan Andrews. It's Tony Thurman who's got to go up there and pull in that 6'5"-incher. Good size right there. The pros like his potential down the line. He got 127 yards in the Kentucky game. One of the 2 losses for Rutgers this year. We have a timeout call now, as Rutgers takes 1 of its 3, and they're now 2, as is the case with Boston College.
See the ball on the 33. That means that the kick, if they were even to kick from there, would be from about the 39-yard line. That's within the range of their field goal kicker, Tom Angstad, who's kicked 150. So they're already within the field goal range as we're taking a look. Mr. Angstad, the senior, who is perfect 14 for 14 in point afters this year and is the top scorer, had 5 field goals earlier this year against Cincinnati, 4 against Syracuse. So he's been called upon often this year.
21-10, 9 seconds to play in the half, and Rutgers with the ball trailing Boston College. Andrews, Baker, Cobb. Those are the wideouts in the ball game right now. They've got a lot of speed on the field. Thomas and Gorecki have come out. They've got an extra back in there, and that ball was complete. Loose. Nope, they call it an incomplete pass. Boris Pendergrass was ripped pretty good right there by Tony Thurman. And Thurman had 10 unassisted tackles last week against West Virginia, so he can hit.
We've talked about the courage that it takes to run over the middle, and there we see why, as you end up on your back many more times than you do on your stomach, as we saw that happen. They brought the field goal team onto the field with 3 seconds left. Angstad putting the ball right at the 40-yard line, so that will equal his personal best. He's able to hit it.
He's got a 34-yarder already that made it 14-10 at the time. He's got the wind at his back. Pretty good position. But the ball died on him. And that's going to end the first half. So remember, we have our feature. We've got our Wall Street Weekend Memo. We've got stats and highlights. And we've got a Boston College lead at halftime. It's the Eagles 21, Rutgers 10.